What's up, guys? Got a different type of video for you than I normally make. This is going to be one that's going to be a little awkward for me because there are people in my real life that watch my YouTube videos, friends, family, whatever, and occasionally I get personal with these videos, and this is going to be one of them. So this is a little weird for me, if I'm being honest. But I felt like I should make this video because I've got this weird quality where people really like to overshare things with me, and this is both in real life and on the internet. But for whatever reason, when I meet somebody, they like spew their life to me. They will tell me things that I cannot believe within, a day or two of knowing me. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I don't know what I did to get this weird superpower, but I've got it. And I've gotten some concerning messages over YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, and I talk to you guys, and I know some of this is probably just people exaggerating and memeing it up or whatever, but I think a lot of that, sometimes there is an element of truth in there, and I've gotten a few pretty concerning messages about this kind of thing, if I'm being honest, and I want to talk about it because I think it's good to have a different mentality around these things, because I think that a lot of what we're doing around, a lot of what society is doing when it comes to trying to help people with depression and mental illness is counterproductive. I think a lot of it is self-destructive in a way. The biggest issue I have with all these mental illness issues is that there seems to be a big pity party surrounding them, to where it's almost like an honorable thing to be considered depressed or to have anxiety. Like, people are wearing these things like badges of honor now, and everybody wants to be a victim of something. It's crazy to me, and I think it's just a really toxic thing. I think in a lot of ways it's similar to fat acceptance, where that's terrible. The fat acceptance is bad. It's just bad. It's not good for you. Do we have crackhead acceptance? In the same way, I don't think we need to be I think the attitude around mental illness needs to change, because you look at like a TV show, like that Netflix show, 13 Reasons Why. That is a toxic show. That is giving people this idea that there is killing yourself is going to get you all this attention and make you out to be some sort of angel, and you'll be like remembered in this crazy way. No. That's just not how it is. That's not reality. I know two people that have killed themselves. One I went to high school with, another one was just a friend of a friend. And you know what happened when they killed themselves? People were sad. Yeah. People remember the best things about people when they die, and whatever. People don't seem to forget all the terrible things they did temporarily. And people were sad for a little bit, but you know what happened for the most part? They're fucking dead. They're forgotten. Nobody fucking cares anymore. They had their, 2 months of people being like, oh, I miss him. But you know what? Guess what? They're fucking dead. They're gone. Dust. Forgotten. Worthless. So it was a waste. A complete fucking waste. And that is probably the worst thing to fucking tell somebody that is suicidal or whatever. But I think it's good to have different mentalities around this thing, because that's the reality. That's just the reality, is that if you kill yourself, man, it's just a big fucking waste, man. And it's gonna get better. I assure you it's gonna get better. Basically what I'm trying to say is that I think there needs to be multiple perspectives when it comes to dealing with this, because right now all it is one big pity party, and everybody is glamorizing the victims, and being a victim is now almost an honorable thing. And I think there needs to be a shift to where, if you're depressed, the mentality needs to be, you know what, fuck you, I am not depressed, I am not going to let this get me down, I'm going to power through this because fuck you. And just a different mentality. There's some people that when they want to lose weight, for example, they need people cheering them on, and other people need the boot camp, and other people need somebody that is just going to tear them down to build them back up again. So I think there needs to be multiple perspectives on this. So let's get into my story of how I almost did it, because I'm not gonna sit here in my glass house and throw stones. I'm gonna open up to you guys, because I've gotten a lot closer than I ever want to get to quite literally pulling the trigger on the whole killing yourself thing. So let's get into my story. I went through a pretty rough period in my life when I was, I believe, 14 years old. And at the time, I was quite the jock. Little Zyback was quite the sportsman. I was very good at football, very good at basketball. Everybody knew I was, and I don't want to like brag too much, but I was really fucking good, to the point to where if I would have continued that trajectory, I would have gotten a scholarship somewhere. I'm pretty certain of it. I went to all sorts of camps. I went to like a pro football camp and ended up winning defensive player at the camp. And man, I just really identified with football, basketball. That was my life. And when I won that defensive player at this camp that was full of other kids that were also really, really good, that man, my dad, I swear, I've never seen somebody so fucking proud in their life. And it just, that was my identity. I was the guy that was good at sports. And that was great. So, I was going through school, being good at sports, age 14. A lot of people, when you're a young male, age 14, you start getting some hormonal changes, right? That's kind of when you're a boy transitioning into a man. That's what happens for most people, right? Not me. I was a fucking child from age 14 through about 18. You can look back at my videos and see that I was quite the ugly duckling. I was a man in a child's body for a very long time. What did that mean? That meant my sports dominance went down the tubes, man. I remember busting my ass that summer because I would work out. I would train for football. I took this shit really seriously. So I came back from the summer, worked out super hard, came back. All these people that I was previously just manhandling the previous year, they had facial hair and leg hair and all this stuff, and I came back and I'm terrible. Like, I'm getting just physically, like, I played defensive end. That's a pretty physical position. And, dude, I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? And these guys are just bigger, stronger, faster, and I couldn't compete. So my sports dreams and my sports identity was just crushed. Now, I know some of you guys are going to think that's the lamest shit ever. Wow, he's bad at sports. Boo-hoo. But you got to realize this was a big part of my identity. I was the guy that was good at sports. This was like my thing, and it was just taken away from me through basically genetics. And I mean, eventually I did go through the boys to men phase, just at fucking age 18 instead of age 14 and 15 like most people. So that sucked. It really sucked to have to essentially quit sports. I mean, I could have kept playing, but it was just embarrassing. And it was one of those things where, a lot of times in high school when people look back when they quit something, would have been like, wow, man, I really wish I wouldn't have quit that thing. That was me quitting sports was a good idea, because it would have only gotten more embarrassing because I just stayed in this child body until out of high school. So, yeah, it sucked. It really, really sucked. Now, not only was I sucking ass on the football field, also I was not doing as well as I would like to have done academically. Now, my brother, my older brother, is basically like a fucking genius. He was so smart that I think his junior year in high school, they're like, you don't even need to go to this high school anymore. He went to this like governor school. My brother was smart. He graduated with like a 4.0. He stopped going to high school after his sophomore year, and he went to another governor school thing. Yeah, really fucking smart. Me, not as smart as him, but I wanted to sort of somewhat keep pace with him. So I was taking some AP classes, and I got in over my head academically. I'll be honest, I'm just not one of those people that does very well with these AP classes that involve a lot of, just vomiting information out, memorizing stuff, and then vomiting it out on paper and then forgetting it. This is not a strong suit of mine. So I was taking a lot of these advanced placement classes and these just classes that, quite frankly, I just got in over my head. And I wasn't doing as well as I'd like to, and I would look up to my brother and be like, wow, he's just A's across the board, A, and every fucking thing. And I'm sitting here getting B's and C's, and I'm working my ass off, and I'm getting B's and C's, and I just feel like a real fucking dumbass. And that sucked, because I was the guy that and I didn't get bad grades by any means, and eventually I stopped taking those crazy hard classes, and I would just coast through high school, whatever. But my brother was the guy that was getting the good grades and was the genius, and I was the athlete, and now I was neither. Now I'm just a fucking dumbass that is now not good at basketball or football, and it sucked. It really sucked. So I was really feeling down on myself again. And then my parents, things were not good at home. They should have gotten divorced long before they ended up getting divorced. So they were fighting a lot. The economy was terrible. My dad was working all the time, which wasn't, that's completely understandable. But like, just shit was bad, man. They were fighting all the time, and my mom, man, I really hope this is one of those videos where, fuck, I hate that people in real life watch my shit, but parenting mistakes were made, and again, looking back at this, there are some times where your parents do things, and you look back on it and you're like, yeah, I get why they did that now. That was good. I'm glad they did that the way they did that. This is not one of those cases. This was some bad, this was not good parenting. So my, at home, things were bad, and constant, them fighting all the time, and them, mainly my mom would sort of take it out on me and my brother, and would just be super controlling and just really fucking, just a pain in the ass to be around, and just awful, just fucking awful to be around. And her response to me not making, as good of grades as I, wanted to, was they basically just took away everything, man. So I would come home, I fucking sucked at football, sucked at sports, was working my ass off in school, getting fucking B's and C's, which is essentially failure. And I'd come home and it would just be nothing. I had everything was taken away from me. No internet, no video games, no nothing. I would come home, my fucking room was just empty. It was just 24/7 shit. And so that sucked. And what else we got here? I got a whole fucking phone full of shit here that just sucked. I had a high school girlfriend. Now I was never the type to think that, like, I've always been pretty pragmatic about that kind of thing, about like high school girlfriends, and it, it's obviously statistically probably not going to work out. This wasn't a big one, but she moved away, so this was another thing that happened through no real fault of my own, but she ended up moving away, and while that wasn't a huge thing that got me down in the dumps, it fucking sucked, because it wasn't really my fault, and she moved, like, she didn't just move, like, an hour away, she moved, like, to Nevada. Like, it's over. So, that sucked. What else we got here? And my friends. Now, my friends didn't, like, betray me or anything, but and I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but I almost felt like my friends were hanging out with me and, like, being nice to me in like a way that, like, they feel sorry for me. It felt different. I don't know if this is even true or not. I don't know if this is me just being in my own head. I guess I could probably ask them if this was the case. But I almost felt like my friends were hanging out with me and just treating me differently because they felt sorry for me. And I really didn't like that. So anyway, there was a lot of shit that was going wrong in my life, and it sucked. And I don't know what I was doing at the time, but I remember I was going through my parents' drawers in their room looking for something, and I came across a handgun. And I remember just picking up the handgun and just holding it in my hand, released the magazine, saw that it was loaded, put the magazine back in, and I just sort of held it, like, just in my hand, just looking at it. And I was kind of just going through the options of, like, yeah, shit sucks. Shit really sucks right now. And I don't know what possessed me to do this or what gave me this thought, but I was like, wow. Man, you'd be a real fucking loser to kill yourself before you're 18. That was the thought that went through my head. I was like, man, that would be what kind of loser kills themselves before they're 18? So I ended up putting the gun back away, and I was like, you know what, I'll revisit this when I'm 18 and when I moved out, and when, if things still suck, then maybe. So that's the closest I've ever gotten to killing myself. And that's a lot closer than I'd ever like to get. I mean, yeah, I didn't put it up to my head. Yeah, I didn't, like, go to the edge of a bridge and almost jump off, but I held the gun in my hand, and I don't know, a little scary for me. So, you know what? Shit sucked. It did. And guess what? There was no come to Jesus moment. I think a lot of people that are going through some shit, they're expecting to like, that you know, one thing is going to happen and everything's going to be great and it's, you know, everything is going to get better, and it's not going to happen. Most likely not. There was no come to Jesus moment. There was no big turning point where everything instantly got better. No, it just kind of slowly, you know, if you think of like a crossfade, like from a music perspective, it just sort of slowly got better. I mean, my parents ended up getting divorced. I started getting, you know, I got older, so I got some more freedom. I started, you know, the YouTube thing, the gaming thing. I started my own business, and all this stuff happened slowly over time. So there was no come to Jesus moment. There won't be for you. If you're going through some shit, there's not going to be some big moment that changes your life and everything instantly gets better. What realistically is going to happen is that things are just going to slowly get better, and you're going to look back on it and be like, wow, you know what? That sucked, but I'm glad that sucked because now I know how to deal with that situation. And right now, things are going pretty well for me. I'm having a great time. There are plenty of things I'd like to improve in my life. I'm definitely not coasting. I'm definitely not 100% happy with where I'm at. But for the most part, things are good, and I'm glad I didn't kill myself, believe it or not. And yeah, I'm sure I will go through a period where I get down in the dumps again. I've gone through another period where I was down in the dumps, where I just sort of was at a crossroads in life where I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I guess I had all the stereotypical depression symptoms where I just stare at the wall and lay in bed all day and just not do shit. But I don't want to get into that. But anyway, you know, I'm sure I'll go through periods where life sucks, and you know, that just is natural. But I'm glad I went through it because I know how to deal with it now. And yeah, so for all you guys that thinking about killing yourself, don't, because I'm glad I didn't. And shit will get better, believe it or not. So that's my story. There's no glamour in it. There's no honor in it. If you kill yourself, you will just be forgotten, and it'll be a big fucking waste. So live your life, have fun, and, you know, live your life and at least be able to be remembered for something. You know, if you just fucking kill yourself, you're just gonna be a big sad burden on your family. It's fucking selfish. Being the victim, there's no honor in it. Don't fucking buy into this shit. Don't buy into this 13 reasons why, where if you kill yourself, you'll be made out to be some sort of martyr or angel. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna be fucking forgotten, dead. It's gonna be a big fucking waste, and everybody's gonna look at you and be like, wow, he threw it all away. What the fuck? So, you're not gonna get a pity party from me. Fuck that. You don't be a statistic. And I think that we as a society should tackle these issues in multiple ways. Sure, build people up, whatever, but I think there needs to be a fuck you mentality at the same time of fuck you, I'm not depressed. Fuck you, I'm not going to kill myself. And, you know, I'm going to get through this if it's the last thing I do because, god damn it, that's what I'm going to do. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe this was helpful. Maybe this is the worst thing I've ever done. But I figured I would talk about it because I know there's some people that are probably going through some similar stuff. I mean, the law of big numbers. There's got to be some people out there watching my stuff that are pretty sad, pretty down on themselves. So don't worry, it'll get better slowly, but you'll get through it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Have a good one.